G'day podcast listeners and watchers around the world. You're with Spinksy on the Weekend Waves podcast. We have a very special guest today with our Shapers, how would you say, not program, but we've had a lot of Shapers on lately. Gunter Ron, Scott Crump, and another one, world known right around the world from the Goldie, well originally WA, so Sandgroper. Nev Hyman. G'day, mate.
Good to see you, Spinksy.
Yeah, mate. Thank you for your time today. Yeah,
good fun.
So, mate, you just never stop.
Well, you know, my mother gave me the name Neville, Neville Charles Hyman, in Perth, Western Australia, an hour and a half from the beach, and a ginger. Do you think I had a rough start in life?
Yeah.
So I never give up. I don't care. Yeah. So here I am, and I'm loving every second. It's good. Good to be back in the surf scene more than what I was in the last 10 years.
Yeah, and we're in your beautiful place here at Burleigh. And I just walked around the back to go to the bathroom, and I just went, holy hell, it just got even bigger and better.
Yeah.
You got a lot of boards from a lot of your team riders from the past, and I can see that you've been doing some replicas of all your team rider boards. You've got your famous machine, which is yours.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
right
it's
from
your
day
patent.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not my patent, no, and we can get into that. But I began the process really of machine shaping in 1988, and it's a long story. And if there is another podcast on Dust Up, and there's all of that's there if someone's interested in that story.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm very proud of it, and I've got the best machine in the world sitting right here. And if it wasn't for that machine, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. It's kind of grown from the fact that I've got the tech for me to be anywhere in the world and have my boards made while I'm away, anywhere. And the machine cuts boards, I would say 100%, because I've proven it. I've taken a board off the machine, my board, a 6-channel, straight off the machine, tinted the resin, fin system, 6-channel, on the rack, glassed. Didn't have to touch it. So, yeah, that's the catalyst for this whole thing I'm doing here, and this is it's a destination. We're creating the long gone surfer shaper relationship. The cottage industry is I hate to say this, but it's a dying breed of people like myself, and it's almost next nigh to impossible for young people to get involved in the surf industry. And what is the surf industry? It's a craft. That's what it is. We make these beautiful things out of foam, and all these incredible shapers like Gunter and all my peers. That's what we've been doing. I've been doing it for 55 years, and it's been the best thing that could have ever happened to that Neville in Western Australia. But it's super important now because everyone buys boards online or goes into the big surf shops. Nothing wrong with that, but they're missing the experience of talking with a shaper. They're missing the experience of coming down the factory and wandering through. And what we're creating here is we've got a food cart outside, a Venezuelan food cart. It's just amazing. The food's off the chart.
Yeah, come down and check it out. It smells great.
So it's better than it smells.
There you go.
And then I've got my machine. It's on full view, not tucked away in the back of the factory, so people can see the technology side of what we do. And then they can wander through the factory and see boards being glassed, the craft, see boards being sanded and sprayed and all that sort of stuff, just like it was 30, 40, 50 years ago when I was growing up. It was the same thing. You'd go to a surfboard factory, meet the staff, meet the shaper, hang out, be cool. And then on top of that, we've got the secondhand board store called Neverboard, and that's probably the only secondhand board store in Australia. Now it's really difficult. Times have changed so much that you can't sell your old boards. You've got to sell them on Marketplace. Who wants to deal with people coming to your house and Marketplace? So we're going to have like 1,000 boards in there, and all on consignment, all through Shopify. And we've got all sorts of other things happening in that space, such as it's not just about surfboards, it's about foil boards and wings and all that sort of equipment. We're going to be selling that new and secondhand. Because surfing has evolved so far that to be a true surfer, you need to ride everything. And you don't even have to be a surfer. I mean, so, ride a longboard, a middle-length twin, a foil, and a lyre, ride anything because it's cool now and it's fun. So we're just tapping into that to make this community sort of scenario. We want people to come in here and like they hang out all day. They can hang out all day.
Yeah. You can have some music as well here, I heard. And
Parties.
bands
We're actually going to have a walk of fame. We're calling it the Strip of Fame. And it's going to be a...
They're not stripping.
Oh, we love stripping. We all let's not go there. So we've got, it's going to be, but feet, not hands.
Okay.
And the first inductee is going to be Rabbit. Because
Right.
Rab's working with us, and we're going to have a big party. Every time we do an inductee, we're going to have a big party here. We're going to have a big wall. Richard Harvey's designed a 4 or 5 wave set to go on that wall out there that, you know, in lines, and you can be able to stand and pretend you're in the barrel and get your photo and all that sort of shit, you know. So
Nice.
it's a lot of fun. And we're really aiming to, it doesn't have to be to hardcore surfers.
Yeah.
This is to mums and dads that want to bring Johnny and Shelley in and get their new boards because they're learning how to surf down or whatever, or some crusty old surfer that just wants to keep surfing, and everybody in between.
I noticed too with your machine out the front, right in front of the food truck, you can actually, it's more like an aquarium. You're actually watching that board, have something to eat and watching a board get shaped. And as you said, from the blank to the end result with fin boxes, the whole lot.
Everything. And like I said, all surfboard manufacturers that have a machine like this, like the Aku or the APS 3000 or the new Surf Shaper that I've got, they hide them in the back of their factories because they don't really want anybody to see the machine. Like, what? That's the most exciting thing ever. Like, I copied a Nev Brothers Nielsen 1985 for a guy who's ordered some of these replicas that he puts up on the wall, the Danes and the Christians, and he's got this awesome Nev Brothers Nielsen. So I measured and copied that and put all the data into Shape 3D, cut it once, wasn't quite right, cut it twice, it's unreal. And we're going to spray it exactly the same as the original board, and it's going to be in here, and we're going to be doing classic Nev Brothers Nielsens from the 80s. And I know there's crew out there that would love to get one of those boards. And the point that's really hitting home for me is my shaping career started in the 70s, and I rode single fins and all that sort of stuff, and then the 80s hit, and the 80s is the new 70s. That's why all of these boards, that's why TNC and Nev and Local Motion and all these other brands that were bright and fluoro in the day, everybody kind of wants them now. So, you know, this whole idea of, and the problem being is that when people recognised that there was incredible boards in the 70s, they rode them, but you had to compromise your surfing to ride those boards. So like you're riding a high performance board, but you want to get into the 70s, so you're going to go and ride a single fin for a while, which is awesome, like the single fin comps and things like that, but it's not your surfing. You have to compromise your surfing. However, the boards in the early 80s and through the 80s were as good as the hybrid surfboards we ride today. Same rocker, same thickness, all of those sorts of things. You can jump on a board that's 40 years old, paddle out at Burleigh, and have as much fun on that board surfing performatively if you've got a brand new Firewire. You know, so that's what's the exciting part about it. And my machine allows me to do that. I'm not just hand shaping the board and kind of getting it close. I'm literally, well, a perfect example is this one behind me, the Dingo's board. So this here, that's Dean Morrison's board that he won the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australian and World Junior titles on. Never been done before. One board, one guy, all titles, 1 year. So I copied that board to within 0.5 millimetre. This board is identical to that board. Took me 3 goes on the actual process. There it is, 22 litres, what Dean rode when he was 17 in 1998. So I've then taken that file and bumped it up to 27.5 litres. That's Dean's board that I'm taking with him to Bali to give him. And these 2 boards are going to hang in the Rip Curl shop at Uluwatu because Dino's he's partners with that shop.
Right.
And that's what he's going to be riding.
Well, I was just about to say, he's going to ride the 22 litre one.
No.
What gym's he going to?
I know. Can you believe it? But that's the exciting thing for me. It annoys me when I hear others saying, but you know, if it was just a hand shape, I could not. I'm known as one of the most accurate, fast shapers around, and I'm proud of that. In the 80s, I used to shape 15 boards a day. 15 boards like Dane's board here. Double wing swallows, channel, belly channels. My fingertips would bleed. That was when I used to go to Japan and shape. I was a maniac, but I made really good money, and it was worth it. But I could not shape that board as accurately as the machine did it for me, and to nail it in 2 cuts.
It's like you've gone full circle because you've gone from that You went into like obviously firewire, completely different kind of construction, and then back to this again.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny when you think about it, because firewire happened. Not many people know this, and I don't mind saying this, and I don't care. Firewire happened because in 2004, I was going to do this globally. In other words, what I'm doing here, I was going to set up a global network of shaping machines and have my files sent to those machines for my boards to be made authentically anywhere in the world. No one was even thinking that way. And we had a business plan called Mobius. And that business plan was in effect. I started refitting my shop at Mermaid Beach, spent a lot of money getting it all set up, had it set up so that people could come into my shop, sit in this gorgeous couch with a big screen TV on the wall. I think this is 22 years ago. And sit on a couch with me or the other and design your board. Yeah, you want this, you want that? Okay, now let's go upstairs. Let's go and cut the board. Now it's cut, let's finish it off. Still would have taken 20 minutes back then. Then let's glass it. We had a little oven in there for UV glassing. So that was all set up. But Mickey Langenbach from APS 3000, who was my partner, 50-50 partner, had no reason to do this, zero reason, no matter what he says. He cut me out of that business. I had ordered my machine from my own company, paid the $30,000 for the materials, to be delivered to my shop up at Mermaid Beach a matter of months before the Quicksilver Pro in 2005, when I was going to launch this whole gig to the global surfing community, and I'm out. Well, how could I be out? Well, I couldn't get my machine. He wouldn't give it to me. So he burnt me so badly, and we had no issues prior to that, apart from a few minor. I'd just been through a divorce, so there was a few issues in my personal life. I didn't sign one document here or something like that, but not enough to cut me out completely. So my journey from 1998 to 2004 was fully funded by myself. I paid for everything, including all the overheads where this development was taking place, from the pantograph to the CNC, which I was running around the world and selling in 2002 and 2003. I sold the machine to Gordon Merchant, to some guys in Northern California, to Nigel Simmons in the UK. I sold those machines. They were known as Nev's machines, even though the name APS 3000, which we both cooked up. So I was out. So what am I supposed to do? I'm doing all this stuff. So then I contacted Bert Berger in Western Australia from Sonova, because I'd heard he had this amazing tech. I bought his company, brought him out here, and then Bert and I, and you've seen some of the boards they're floating around here, we made like a whole bunch of boards in 2005. They were Nev's, but they were Bert's technology. And we made 20 boards for the world's best surfers, from Mick Fanning, Joel, Dingo, Taj, Andy, Kelly, all of them. They all got 20, all these boards. And the feedback we were getting was off the charts. So, and then we did a trade show in 2006, January 2006, and it was all Nev. It wasn't Firewire. It was still Nev, and the feedback was unbelievable. Like, all the bigger manufacturers were going, "Oh my God, what are we?" And I was running around the world, jumping off trucks onto cars and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of let it go, this whole thing with the machine, until I decided, no, now's the time. The Taj is winning. It's 2007. I go to my CEO, who's a corporate lawyer. I said, "This is my case." And he said, "You're going to smash him out the ballpark. He's got no leg to stand on, but don't do it." And I went, "Well, why?" Because we're a disruptive new technology in the surf industry. We've just made a big impact in the US, and we don't want to be seen to be suing someone else in the industry. It was very wise. So I had to sign off that I would not take any action against this guy.
All right.
And then, not a matter of months later, this guy, Mickey Langenbach, also had litigation against him in relation with his other partners, Mike Rickard, he's built every one of the machines from day one. So Mike Rickard is my buddy. He's built all of the Acus and the APS 3000s, and, well, up until a period, and now the Surf Shaper.
All right.
And they won that case, and they got back what they needed. Jimmy Freeze, who's the guy behind Aku, who I hired in 2002 or something to finish the programming, because Shape 3D and Aku Bird, those two programs came from, I'm sorry, I didn't program them. I didn't have anything to do with the way they looked and things, but I had everything to do with the measuring protocols. So you imagine a shaper going to AutoCAD, 0 to X, Y, Z. You tell me a shaper is going to do that when measuring a board. No. So I had to inspire all of the changes in those programs, Shape 3D first, then Aku, then back to Shape 3D, to do this measuring 12 inches in the nose, 12 inches in the tail, rocker, all those things. All the jargon had to change, just so shapers could get it. So I'm responsible for that. I don't care what anybody says. Thank you very much. I'm responsible for it. I paid for it. I paid for these guys to come out from Europe, and then this guy has the gall to cut me out. So personally, I've had no benefit at all from the computer shaping thing.
Excuse me. You know why he cut you out?
Because he was greedy. And he can say whatever he wants to say, but he has no argument. He was greedy. He would argue that I had lost my focus. I was going too big, too fast. No, you don't know me. I do shit, right? and I had a plan that has come true, right? Yeah. So since I dropped the ball back in 2005, the whole global community is exactly what my vision was. And again, sorry if there's others out there that want to claim that space too. I'm not trying to claim space. I'm just saying I know what happened. I actually had to go, because you tend to forget over time, I had to go and interview the people I dealt with all the way back to 1988 when I visited the first pantograph at Force 9 in Sydney with Tim Bissell from California, the famous shaper from California. We both went to Sydney and saw the machine, and I forgot where the machine came from. And it turns out it was actually the Smith brothers who had just built the machine and installed it. And I went down there and went, oh my God, you can copy boards? And and I ordered 100 blanks straight away.
Wow.
So the Smith brothers, Graham Smith said to me, Nev, you started it. You started the commercialization of computer shaping. So I don't want to claim any glory, but I'm telling the story as it is.
Yeah. The machine that you have now, how it goes through is there any AI involved with that?
No,
none at all, just a program?
Let me tell you, the algorithm, and I'm no math guy, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So let's say, the best example I can give you is this. I took Michel Berez's Firewire file that he loved from like 10 years ago, and we turned that into a board for Stewie Kennedy, which I therefore less volume, and everybody loved that board. So then many years later, I get that file and I see it and I go, okay. And Eric Perez, who works with me, he owns the food cart. He's a really good surfer from Snapper. His boy is 7 years old and he rips. He's got 2 boys and 2 girls and they all surf really well. So I had to make Cruz a 4'3". I think it was 4'3", 4'4".
Of the shells?
Of Michelle's board.
Right.
Of Michelle's 510. So Michelle's 510 was like 29 litres. And all I did was change the dimensions, and the algorithm takes that board and reduces it, everything, fin position, everything, rail volume, all the things that I would have had to think of to actually shape that board. Now, I'm going to say that I would not have, or I would have hated to have hand-shaped that board, because the smallest blank you can get is like 6 foot. And to do a 4'2" or 3" or something out of a blank, it doesn't even fit on the racks. It literally would take you all day. And it won't be accurate. Whereas now, and then I've taken that 4'2", taken it to 4'6". I've got kids up on the sunny coast, the Salty Shreds girls, little girls. Yep. They're writing Cruz's board that came from Michelle's board. Wow. Right? And with a little bit of help from the friends of the down at Snapper. So the algorithm just, it is so amazing, it blows me away. If I change the dimensions of a board, let's just say from 5'10" to 6'2", and I went and measured the rocker on what it's told me to do or what it's given me, if it was like 2.5 on a 6.0, and it would be 2 and 9/16 or 2 and 5/8 on the tail, and that's what I would have done if I hand-shaped the board.
Yeah.
So that's the AI behind it.
Yeah, sure. So with all these boards, you've done replicas, but you're not just sticking to that. You're just going to bring out a whole new range or new models, or your older models and just refine them over?
That's a really good point, and I address this all the time. I have no desire to go and be Tomo.
Right.
Tomo's a great shaper.
Yeah.
He's an incredible surfer, and he's done wonders for Firewire. I encouraged, in fact, I got Tomo into Firewire, kind of. I had Mark Price, and we met with him down at Lennox, and he'll remember, and it was and he's done well from it. I didn't, because he receives a royalty like most of the shapers do, and I missed out on that. So you cry in my tea. But Firewire to me was an incredible experience, and it was an amazing legacy that, yeah, I started it. It was Bert's Tech, my marketing and my team riders and all of that sort of push that created Firewire. But to have Kelly buy the company is, it's a nice little tick on the box. What we were saying, I've forgotten now.
No, so from the replicas.
Oh yeah, so the idea of coming up with new designs, like really new designs, like being super creative. I've got so many boards in my range that have been proven for like 10, 20, 30, 40, 30 years, not 40 years, but so even, I had a board called the Retro Rocket as a great example. So the Retro Rocket was a board that I did in 1990, I think, and 1991. It was at the same time that Al Merrick brought out the pod.
Right.
And the pod was flat and thick and shorter. So everybody was riding high performance boards. No one was thinking about riding shorter boards. So I got a board and maintained high performance rocker, maintained high performance foil, maintained the width of the tail, slightly wider, a quarter of an inch or something, and I pulled the nose out. And it had a nice little kick in the nose. Willsey went off on that board, like so much so that judges were saying don't surf it in an event because your nose is not penetrating the lip high enough. You'll get judged down for it. But he just loved it. Guy Walker loved it. Dougal Walker loved it. No relation. All these crew around was loving this Retro Rocket because it was a high performance Retro Rocket, meaning you could take off and go rail to rail, get up heaps of speed, and then when you wanted to bury it and get length through in your turn, you still had the effective rail that you had on your longer board. That's now par for the course because all hybrids have got that same idea behind it. So the Retro was one. I did the Sub Moonfish about 7 years ago with my son because we wanted to do a Retro Rocket that was more like a fish, and I think that's been my best selling board ever.
Wow.
The people who ride the Retro, I do not get bad feedback on the Retro Rocket, and one of the ones that's really blowing me away is. Then I've got my Rippable, which is the Michel Perez board. I mean, why change that? Everybody who rides that board loves it. So, and it's just a normal high performance board. There's other boards in the range, but there's two that are really making an impact now. And why? Because I'm trying to draw some analogies here. Surfers of my age group and older who surfed in the 70s and now in their 60s and 70s, they remember surfing their single fins and that's their wonderful memories. The next generation who surfed in the 80s, so the guys that are now like 50, 55, 60, that remember the days in 1983 when they were ripping on their Nev or their Town and Country or whatever, they're going, I just want to surf like that again. Yeah. And I still can, but I can't because I've put on a bit of weight, I'm older, I've got all these issues. So this is what happens when a surfer gets to that point in their surfing life. They're either riding a short board or a normal kind of, let's just say a guy's 85 k's and he's riding a 6.3 Pyzel, right? Just can't get enough waves. The volume's right, but I just need to get more. So what they do is they go, I'm going to ride a mid-length twin for a while. Yeah. And then they go, yeah, this is awesome, catching waves. I want to try and surf like Torren Martin. But I can't. But every now and again, they get that little feel where you're riding a mid-length and look at that high-lying thing and the long, slow roundhouse. I mean, I'm a perfect example of that. 5 years ago, I was in the Tellos riding a 5.9 Retro Rocket, 28 litres. And I mean, as well as I could at my age then. But I was stoked. I was still riding a shortboard. But then I wasn't surfing much, so I jumped up to a mid-length because I saw what Torren was doing. I'm going, I've got to do that. Then I got comfortable, and then I got bored, and then I get more bored, and I'm going, And then I try to go back to my smaller board, and now I can't paddle, I can't pop up.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous to do that. There's nothing wrong with riding a mid-length, and there's nothing wrong with riding a longboard, but there's everything wrong in riding those boards. If you can catch waves and you can take off and do a turn, then you are compromising your surfing, what you really want to do. So I've recognised that, and it's been an absolute mind-bending, zeitgeist. It's just this change in my thinking, because now what's happening is that I'm getting two camps: the guys that were riding the Pizel, 34 litres, and you guys got riding 90 to 100 litre longboards, and everything in between. So they've got these guys that want a bit more. So I've got two boards in the range now that just nail it for them. One is the Never Surrender, which is on looking at it, you'd think it just looks like a step up, but it's not a step up. It's actually, and I've got a Never Surrender, a 6.7 now, and it's 36 litres, which is for 72 kilos is probably too much, but it's perfect for me.
Yep.
And it's got plenty of rocker. It's got a lot. It's got almost 3 inches in the tail on a 6.7. Wider nose, but not too wide. It's nothing like a mid-length nose. Thruster, yeah. And instead of me saying how well that board goes, a friend of mine who's about 50, riding 34, 35 litres, he goes out at Currumbin on his 6.7 Never Surrender and goes, oh my God, I'm catching every single wave I want. I'm turning where I want to turn. I'm doing the same turns. And then he goes off to Indo, and the guys on the boat that he was with were fighting over his board.
Jeez.
Only because they were all in their 6.2s, all good surfers, or whatever. And they're seeing him, not because it was bigger, but just he was catching heaps of waves and still surfing good. So that's one camp. And then the other board for that same person is the Moab, which I've now got to call the Soab. So the Moab is mother of a board, and the Soab is a small mother of a board, so we called it the son of a bitch. Although politically correct, son of a beach. Beach. So, and I've got one out there, I'll show you in a minute, a 6.1, that I haven't surfed yet, but one of the guys here, Mateos, he's been surfing it, he loves it. So it's got 38 litres, and you'll see what I mean.
I saw one in there, I thought it was a sup.
Oh no, well, okay, so that takes us to the other camp.
Yeah.
So the other camp, I'll go straight to the extreme of the other camp. So imagine a guy comes in, he's a high school teacher, his name's Bruno. He's going to love this, I hope he does. I think he's about 125, 130 kilos.
Big boy.
And I think he was riding like a 9.6, maybe 90 to 100 litre longboard. And he can surf. And he's going, I can't turn though, and I don't want to cross step. I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with riding a longboard, right? We should all ride everything.
Yeah.
But so I made him an 8 foot by 24 inch wide by 4 inch thick Moab. He sent me a dissertation of how incredible the board is. And that is par for the course with all of the Moabs I'm making for guys. I've had guys that have ordered like a 6.5 and taken off the Indo and gone, oh my God, this thing's amazing. A guy sent us a clip of him surfing a left, 4 foot left in Indo, and he's, 50 something. And he paddles in, he stumbles a bit on his takeoff, gets his feet in place, like we all do.
Yeah.
And then he starts going, wah, and he's going, oh, I can't believe it. Wow. Now that guy would have been riding a mid-length going, oh,
yeah.
So I'm actually stunned at how many surfers there are out there in that demographic from 50 to 65 or 70 that just want to do turns. They're never going to go 11 o'clock. They might be going 9 o'clock, but they're still going up there and coming out and going and, maybe snapping a bit, because you can't do that unless you're Torren Martin on a mid-length.
Yeah.
So it's been a real exciting experience, because I know no one's doing aboard anything like the Moab out there that I've seen. And if they are, awesome. I'm not trying to say I own the space or anything. It's nothing. And people are going, well, what the hell's a Moab anyway? You know where the Moab came from? Vance Burrow, Taj's dad. So I'm up in the Exmouth with Taj and Vance and Nancy, because they all surf Nance and Vance, and we're surfing yardies, and Vance takes off on, he takes his board out, and it was a board another guy shaped, and it's very similar to what the Moab is in many ways. And I'm going, Vance, you're only like 85 Ks, and how are you even, it was like 55 litres or something.
Right.
I didn't know what the litres was back then. And he's actually surfing really good. Then I saw him surfing surf with him at Yellingup, and he was coming off the bottom and doing big roundhouse cutties. And I've got recent footage of him. He's now like 70, I don't know, 75 or something. Like last year or the year before at Yellingup or wherever, getting barrel, coming out, doing big hacks, riding the Advance that was in the Firewire range.
Uh-huh.
So, and what the Advance is that's when I fine-tuned that board to become the Advance to the range, so the Advance.
Yeah.
And then Firewire dropped that from the range, which blows my mind because they're really missing out because I'm selling a lot of Moabs.
Wow.
And the very funny part about it, we got the Soab, and then the last one is that I'm out here and Eric's kids were running around, who were riding little 5.4s and stuff. And he said, well, don't they want one? So what are we going to call that one? I actually made one for Renee, my daughter, who won the Aussie titles back in 2000. In fact, shout out to Renee because she's the only girl, the woman globally that won the Gold Coast, Queensland and Australian junior titles, under 16 junior titles when she was 14. That's never been done before, so that was kind of cool. But she got off me a 5.3 Soab and took that to the Ments and had a great trip just recently. But we didn't know what to call the really little ones. So someone suggested, it was actually Peter Druin who suggested this. He was here. He goes, you'd call it the Boab.
The Boab.
The baby of a board. So we got the Boab, the Soab and the Moab. Anyway, have a bit of fun.
I've seen a couple of his boards in here too. Some nice single fins and some shorter boards when they're going through that 80s phase. Yeah. So and Rabbit's got a new model out too.
Yeah. So we're working really closely with Rab because he deserves it. 100%. He needs all the support he can get for the legacy that he's given us. So we're going to do a Rab model, and he's going to get a nice little clip on the ticket for that, and people are going to love these boards. And it's really paying it backwards. Like, you know, that's what that's all about. And it's the same with Peter Druin. So I've been working very closely with Peter, you know, of anybody. He's going to fade away. His legacy is going to fade away. And that guy is a genius. He is on the spectrum, no doubt. He studied at NIDA in 1970 and his hero was Marlon Brando. He's a performer. He's probably the most performing performer ever in surfing. You know, forget Mickey Dora and all those guys. They were egotists. And I say that respectfully as best I can. But Peter was an artist. You look at these boards, we'll have a look at them later. On the bottom of each of these boards, 5 boards from Peter's range, there's only 4 there now, but yeah. And each image on the bottom is a photo that we found, Peter and I found in his archives at his house. And each one is, you can't even fault the style that he's putting into those turns. And we're talking 70s, early 70s through to 1984 when he was riding my boards in 84. And he's just an artist on a wave. And they made a movie about him, Druin, the movie. And one of the boards is his 1973 board up here, the single fin, is Peter Druin doing a bottom turn at Uluwatu. The waves were like perfect 6 to 8 feet, better than Morning of the Earth, way better. And he's out there by himself surfing with the albatrosses and the dugongs. Now, that sounds a bit out there. He was here one night with us talking to the crowd. Dean Morrison was there listening, spellbound by Peter telling the story with Druin, the movie, playing behind us. Spellbound by hearing what Peter was saying about being in the water at Uluwatu by himself, surfing absolutely perfect waves, and he was an artist on the wave. And you look at the video, and he was. He's not exaggerating. Then there's a 1969, 1970 twin fin that he said he was surfing at Currumbin doing airs. Now, I'm not going to doubt that. Why should I doubt that? Wayne Lynch said recently, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Peter Druin was the best surfer in the world sometime between 66 and 69. Have a look at the photo I'll show you in a minute of Peter Druin at Burleigh on his 9.1 longboard that he designed that was really quite unique. And he's doing a bottom turn that I can't even figure out. Like his body torque is backwards like that, the board's up like that going up the face on a 6 to 8 foot wave at Burleigh. It's a John Witzig photo. It's epic. Anybody you show that to, if Kelly Slater was here and I showed that, he'd just, oh my God.
Yeah. I
So
know the picture.
the aim is to make boards and sell them to people that can afford them. And that's the other part of this whole equation, is that, I don't know, 5 years ago you couldn't sell a surfboard over $800. Firewire made a huge jump in the price of surfboards 10 years ago. They made surfboards go from $600 to $800, $900 to $1,000.
Is that because of the tech involved, or was it just
The tech and just going,
Yeah.
enough of this
Yeah.
making boards for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and there's going to be a lot of comment about that. You know, don't even start me with, oh, they're made in Asia and all. Hey, you have no idea what
In
it costs.
Thailand, and Core, is it? Who's it?
No, we have Firewire has two factories in Thailand that we or they set up,
Yeah.
completely independent of anybody else.
Right.
And you can eat off the floor in those factories. The
Yeah.
staff, long time ago since I've been there, but last time I was there, the 120 staff all came out onto the floor and they were so happy to meet me. And they were so happy, and I walk around and they're working, and all this bullshit about,
Pop-outs
Asian
and
jobs
stuff.
and
Yeah,
pop-outs.
yeah,
The
yeah,
boards
yeah.
coming out of Asia, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say, people
Yeah.
aren't going to like this,
Yeah.
are better than what we can do. Better than what we can do here. In many cases, it's better. And don't start me on, oh, but they don't surf. That's the most pathetic argument I
Yeah.
could ever hear. They don't surf, therefore they cannot make. No, it's me and my guys here, and JS and DH and Al Merrick, and we create the surfboard, and we make those surfboards in country here, but to meet demand, we have them made offshore. I'm having my boards made in Bali now. So I've just signed a license agreement to have Nev made in Bali, and they're doing all the accessories and clothes and everything. Everything's happening, and I'm so excited about it. So what do? I send my file to the factory in Bali. The boards are made, and I know those boards are exactly like I'd make them here. And we just put on Blackie as a team rider, and Kutut Mender, who's been with me for 40 years, 45 years. So no, do not even begin to argue with me about Asian manufacturing. A job here is as worthy as a job in Thailand, as far as I'm concerned. And yes, it doesn't deny that in some industries there's abuse, but it's not with our company, not with Firewire, it's not with the guys in Bali, it's not with most of the surfboard manufacturers that have their boards made offshore. Hey, it's fine. I've been in places like in Taiwan in a bicycle factory and seen what it really is like to be a slave to the system. No. I've seen that. Changing spokes, putting spokes in all day. Hey, do they do anything else? No. That's what they do. 6 to 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, move a spoke, put a spoke in, put a spoke in, put a spoke in. It's not happening in our...
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I remember, for those, I met Nev through a softboard evolution there, you would call it, wasn't it? With Ozzoboard.
Which was going to be called Neverboard.
Okay.
And do you know why I couldn't call it Neverboard?
No, don't know.
Because at the time I was building Firewire with all the hardcore team in California, and we're talking all the pro surfers and everything, and Mark Price, and who's the CEO, and Chewy Rayner and all the guys. And the thing was, Nev, you cannot start doing softboards, learn to surfboards with your name, because it's going to reflect badly on the Firewire brand. And I just went, I don't mind saying it now, I just went, you've got to be kidding. So are you telling me that some guy or girl is going to walk into a shop somewhere in Southern California or in Portugal and go, oh, look at that Firewire. Yeah, Nev shaped that one, and she's got Michelle's board. Yeah. What's that? Softboards with Nev on it? Oh, no, I don't want that now. I mean, I still to this day don't get it.
Yeah.
So I had to call it Ozzoboard.
Yeah. But
it worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
It was good.
Yeah. Had Ian Cairns involved with us?
Yeah. And Brent Philp.
Yeah.
He was
Brent.
the designing and all of that from the yachting time and that.
Yeah.
G'day, Brett and Kath and Ian, if you tune into the
Indeed.
podcast.
Absolutely.
It was fun
Good
times. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And now we're calling all of my stuff Neverboard. So thanks to Brent, because Neverboard was he designed a logo back then, and we're using the iteration of that logo now. So we're doing entry-level boards in our second-hand board store next door, too. So called Neverboard.
So when you said like you're setting up over in set up a contract with the Neverboards in Indo, you're thinking of going elsewhere outside of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What we've designed here, even though it may not necessarily look exactly like this anywhere else in the world, what we're trying to do is cut straight to the chase. We're offering a business in a box. So, like I said earlier, it's almost impossible for some guy on the Gold Coast to get into the surfboard industry. Where do they go? They come here and say, "Hey, can you teach me how to glass?" Or they go down to, the Paizel's factory down at Tweed and Empire Surfboard Empire, and almost impossible. So what we're doing is, because we set up this business not as a business that's going to do 50, 100 boards a week or all that sort of stuff. I'm over that. I don't even want to know about making boards for pro surfers on the world tour. If somebody wants me to make them a board, awesome. I'm not going to turn that down, but I'm not going to do 5 or 10 boards at a time for some guy that's going for a world title.
Right.
Forget it. I've been there. I get such a kick out of making boards for every type of surfer now, and every surfer that I make a board for, I speak to. Everyone. No one gets by with. You can't buy one of my boards from a shop. You sort of can buy one online, but you're still going to talk to me if it's going to be a custom. So we want to set up the same thing everywhere globally. So if you just imagine, we're going to call it Mobius Surf Hub, because this is a hub, this is a community. What we're developing here, it's not finished yet, but we want to bring the community back to making surfboards. We want people to pull in here, go and have a bite to eat in La Chacha Cabana, go, oh, look at that. Oh, I didn't realise. Walk in here, see the shop, see the machine operating, go back into the second-hand board store, see my memorabilia all over the walls and stuff, and it becomes an experience. So that's what we've planned to do here. That's what we're doing. As I said, it's not finished, but we can replicate that anywhere in the world, because all you need to do is be somebody anywhere and have a site like this, like a car park with a few factories, a factory that you can build surfboards in. So that's probably the hardest part. And for the deal, you will get the Chacha Cabana, the actual food card under license. So you're not doing Mexican or Italian wherever you are in the world. You're doing La Chacha Cabana. There's because that's the best food on the planet. I've got to tell you, it's amazing. And we've got to keep that type.
Venezuela.
Yeah. So Venezuelan food, because as I told you, I met Eric, who owns it, in 1993 there. So the machine, not any machine, it has to be that machine. Then everything you need to set up a retail like this, which is more, this is going to be a showroom more than a retail. Everything you need to make 5, 10, 15, 20 boards a week. That's all the materials, the racks, everything you need. All the training, we provide all of that. So it might be somebody that's already making boards, or it might be somebody that just wants to. Then if you have more space, we would highly recommend having a second-hand board store. And everything, and ultimately in this space we want to set up, and we're planning to set up a health and wellness gym in these other two.
Nice.
Yeah. And that'll be really specific to health and wellness around surfing, because Glenn and I are now with Kaiser across the road here. So Kaiser, the Swiss-based company for physiotherapy and understanding your body, and I've done 4 sessions with them. I've got another one tomorrow, and in the next 3 months they're fine-tuning this old body to make sure that I can surf till 100. So everything about my neck, my lower back extension, all the things that my torso, all of the things we're working on. So that's what we want to have here, as well as working with other companies like that. So, but getting back to the point about a business in a box, is that the container arrives, you build you set the business up, it's all ready to go, and then we come in and train. So, from food to glassing to all those things. And Johnny and Jacqueline in Arizona, next to the wave pool, could set up a surfboard business. Or some weird name in Mongolia, or someone in Portugal, some hardcore guy in Hossegor in France that needs to bring the cottage industry back to his surfing community. And it's going to be reasonably inexpensive, a lot less expensive than setting up a gym, for example. If I wanted to set up that gym over there, probably be $1 million to go and buy all the equipment, get it all set up, have the license agreement, get all that, boom, 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 boom. And this will be, probably half that.
No.
So some mum and dad can go, look, Johnny is kind of like really wants to do this. And then not just that, but I'm starting a Nev Knows mentorship. And so let's just say there's There's a girl in Portugal that has had a few surf lessons, and she's so stoked about surfing, and she knows she's going to go and do a wave pool somewhere around the world. But before she does it, I'd love to make my own board. So how's she going to do that? So I can show her that for a very low cost, she can set up her dad's garage, and I can teach her online how to shape, how to glass. And she might fuck it up, like I did when I was 12. And all the learning process, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad the board is. If you make a board for yourself and paddle out, you're going to love it.
Yeah, that's it.
So there's everyone from just the mentorship to learn how to deal with the craft, to somebody that's actually made a few boards and wants to get better, to somebody that actually wants a business. And let's not forget, the person that gets the business gets access to my brand. So they might be in, let's say, I don't know, in Hossegor, for example, and they can do Nevs now because you can't get Nevs in Hossegor.
No.
But guess what? I'm talking with other shapers that want to get on board with me with this, which means that even if they've got licensees in those countries, who's the most important person in this whole equation? It's the customer. Now, in my past, in selling wholesale all around the world, the biggest problem I had was territorial issues. So I'd have a shop here, and then I'd have this other shop begging me to give them their board, but I couldn't because this shop got the shit. So they might have been an hour away. So who's winning there? So the guy that's an hour away can't get a Nev. He's got to go and deal with this guy he doesn't like who dropped in on him in Senyos, you know. So I'm just saying the surfer has the opportunity to speak to the shaper. So let's just say it's some really famous, I won't say who because I am talking to some people, really famous surfboard shaper that's kind of losing a bit of his ground, that now a surfer in Hossegor who knows him really well can book a session with him on Calendly, speak to him for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, be stoked. Because I do know, and humbly speaking, crew get pretty excited when I get online with them. You know, so it's a very humbling experience. So someone even more well-known than me and guru status is going to, they get paid up front. So they get paid their shaping fee, you know, really nicely up front. Then they, maybe with a bit of help from their friends if they need it, but they design the board for the guy on Shape 3D and they flip the file to them, but they also get the logos and they might get a t-shirt and upsell a leg rope, and then this little box arrives. Oh God, here's my logos. Oh my God, there's a little note from the shaper. Oh this is amazing. Call all the friends, come over. I'm like, let's take it to the local surfboard manufacturer that has a machine that knows that the board can be made. And then he walks in the front door and goes, can you make this board for me? So the guy who's making the board gets full retail, less the shaping fee. So the poor local shaper misses out, sorry, but everybody wins. And in my case, it's a Nev. They don't even pay extra for a custom. So the price of the board in France is going to be the same price as if he walked into a shop and bought that same board off the rack.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what the licensee gets in the deal, amongst a whole bunch of other things that we're working on.
Yeah. And so if anyone was interested in going down that track, how would they just contact you through here?
Yeah. I'm very contactable now.
Yeah.
On my social media. I've got a really good digital marketing agency that have presented what I'm doing in a way that it's just been brilliant. Right. So I know I don't look like the other surfboard manufacturers, what I'm doing, and thanks to the Decant agencies here at Burleigh. And and like I said before, you know, I'm heading to Indo in a few weeks, and I really don't want to come back in a hurry.
Oh, that's your little tour with Rabbit and
well, it's actually the Surf Till 100.
Oh yeah, that one.
I left it too late this year and last year, so I am going to go. The Rab Nev Philippe Philippe Pomar thing won't happen this year, but it's going to happen next year for sure. Yeah. Probably 2 or 3 times.
I got an email.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you did. And it will be an incredible experience. But I'm going there to go and work with the guys about the licensee, and my son and his girlfriend are going and with friends, and so I'm hopefully going to go and surf with them. Yeah. But yeah,
Just to say, in the email, I didn't get the golden ticket.
oh,
Maybe next time.
next time. Yeah.
No,
So, yeah.
but no. What we'll do though is we'll put all the links at the in the podcast thread, in the comments and so forth, so you can contact Nev through here. Or if you're around the sunny coast, Gold Coast, northern New South Wales, if you're just passing through, come down here at Burleigh Heads. The street name off Reedy Creek.
Ramley. R-A-M-L-Y.
Yeah,
No E.
it's
no
just straight on Ramley, R-A-M-L-Y. You'll see the food cart out the front. Never board out
And
the
my
front.
giant 20-foot board that we did synchronised surfing at Cabarita.
Yeah.
Not Cabarita, at Casuarina. And
Casuarina,
5, Sophie and 5, Morgan and Sivlik and a bunch of other guys. They actually took off left on a 6-foot wave out the back and went left and then cranked. They all shuffled to the inside rail. They cranked it right and went right. It's like epic. And that board's out there, and I seriously, one day, my plan is to get that to Hawaii and surf it at Makaha or Sunset. I've already spoken to Jamie O'Brien about it. I haven't given him any details, and I've kind of dropped the ball purposely, because I don't want to get anybody too excited. But if I get that to Hawaii, we're going to surf it at small sunset, like small meaning 4 to 6 foot sunset, because it breaks into deep water, be easy. But even better at Makaha. Even better if we could get it during the Buffalo comp. Can you imagine? Because imagine getting 4 mokes on that thing who surf good.
Yeah.
They'll crank that thing. 4 guys on a big open face 8-foot wave at Makaha.
Well, stay tuned for that one too. Hey mate, thank you again for your time.
Yeah,
I know
my
you're
pleasure.
a busy man. And what we'll do is after we shoot here, I'm going to run around, have a look at some of the stuff, put some film together and edit through the podcast. But yeah, mate, Nev, always a pleasure, mate.
Good on you, Spinksy. So I'm going to finish this pre-shape straight off the machine. So there it is. It's got the fin systems and everything cut for FCS2. And you'll see how quick this is to finish. Got a nice little concave, a V concave in the tail, all cut by the machine. And all I'm doing as least as possible. I don't want to do any more than I'm doing now. So I don't even have to cut the stringer back. It's so tight. That's the bottom. A little bit of this work. A little bit on the tail. It's amazing that that's all that I have to do on the tail. Not even that. So that's finished. Now, got my old screen. See, the nose is finished. That's off the machine. The only thing I've got to do there is just a little bit of that, which is ridiculous. Excuse me. So I'm not shaping the board, I'm just finishing off the rail and doing as least as possible.
So from the original blank typed in to the machine,
Yeah,
the board, dimensions, etc.,
yeah,
straight to you, and as you just said, just pretty much fine sanding, fine tuning a little bit, and that's it.
yeah. There's no shaping. There's no true shaping here. This is just, I hate to say it, it's just smoothing it off.
Yeah, crazy.
And going out of my way not to change anything. That's all done now. The edges are all good. And then just a little bit on the deck of this.
Well, essentially, you could do 100 boards a day easy.
Oh, easy, yeah. This is unbelievable. It blows my mind. And then the very last little tweak.
Yeah.
Just the last little, and this is just to get little lines out, that's all it is. I don't need to do this. It's just the last little thing. And Dunsky. There we go.
Well done.
So that's a beautiful Never Surrender with lovely kick in the nose. Fin system's cut, which means that that's saving somebody about 15 minutes of using a router, or not 15, maybe 10 minutes. All the noise, the dust, the machine does it. Takes about 2 minutes, not even that. For FCS2 or futures.
Nice and clean too.
Totally accurate. Nice little double concave there.
That's not mine, is it?
That's. You would love this thing, I'm telling you right now.
It's my favourite tail. I only ride finny round of
Oh, no, I
pins.
bet. Yeah, yeah. So
Awesome.
there you go.
There we go. Thanks, Nev. You.
No worries.